So I don't know if I'm going to continue this every week, but I'm just going to try to do fantasy players that week who had a good week for the Yahoo Fantasy Leagues. So obviously Brent Burns had one of the best weeks out of all players. He had 3 goals, 5 assists, and 20 shots on goal. So he was the big leader this week. So I'm just going to go by 3 or 4 positions. So at center, Joe Pavelski had 2 goals, 4 assists, 2 power play points, and 10 shots on goal. Connor McDavid, 3 goals, 3 assists, 4 penalty minutes, 2 power play points, and 11 shots on goal. And Paul Stastny had 2 goals, 4 assists, 4 power play points, which is pretty good. 4 penalty minutes, 3 power play points, and 6 shots on goal. And Mark Scheifele rounds out the centers with 3 goals, 3 assists, 8 penalty minutes, 2 power play points, and 7 shots on goal. So obviously the expected person would be Connor McDavid out of those 4. Although Joe Pavelski had a pretty good last year, so he's looking to have a pretty good this year. He's a center / right wing, so it might make him a little bit more valuable because he can play 2 positions where McDavid can only play center. So now at the left wing, Chris Kreider had a really good week. 3 goals, 4 assists, 4 penalty minutes, 2 power play points, and 20 shots on goal, which is pretty gets you a little bit of points if your league is counting shots. Brad Marchand, 2 goals, 5 assists, 4 penalty minutes, 1 power play point, and 9 shots on goal, which I was surprised with the 1 power play point. I thought he would have had more, but I mean, it's still early, obviously. Vanek was a really big surprise. He had 3 goals, 3 assists, 2 penalty minutes, 4 power play points, and 6 shots on goal. So obviously he was a big surprise. His shooting percentage is 50%, so I don't expect it to stay up that high. So maybe watch him to cool off a little. I could be wrong. He could find that extra step with Detroit that he's been missing for a few years now since Buffalo was his last really good year. I might be wrong. You guys can correct me. So right wing Tarasenko, which I was very happy about because I got him on one of my teams. He had 4 goals, 2 assists, no penalty minutes, 3 power play points, and 19 shots on goal. Look, I predict him to have a pretty good year. He had, I think it was 78 points last year, so which is really good. Hopefully he can get over that 82 points. He'll be a point per game player. And St. Louis looks like they're going to be pretty good. Could make the finals this year. You never know. Pasternak was a surprise. He had 4 goals, 2 assists, 1 power play point, 15 shots on goal. And then Vanek again. So maybe he's left wing, right wing combination. I'm pretty sure that's what he is. So that makes him pretty valuable if you can pick him up. And on defense, I have Carlson with 2 goals, 5 assists, 1 power play point, 12 shots on goal. Obviously, Burns is a defenseman too, but I mentioned him early on. He had one of the best weeks. Green was a big surprise. He had 3 goals, 3 assists, 6 penalty minutes, 2 power play points, and 7 shots on goal. And then Seabrook had a pretty quiet week for having 5 points. I didn't even realize he did. So he had 1 goal, 4 assists, 2 penalty minutes, 2 power play points, and 6 shots on goal. So now we're goalies. Montoya, although Price is coming back, so this won't last. He had 2 wins, 1.3 goals against average, a .962 save percentage with 1 shutout. And Grebois from Washington, the only reason he's here is because the game that he played, he got a shutout, so he had 1 win, 0 goals against average, 1,000 save percentage, and 1 shutout. And Luongo, although he had 2 wins, .98 goals against average, and 957 save percentage with no shutout. So I'm just going to go over players that you might want to pick up because they had such a good first week. Sometimes it happens that way. People see players get a lot of points the first week, they add them right away. So I'm just going to go over some that had good stats that might be able to keep it up that you'd be able to pick up and some that might not. And I'll go over goalies too, although there wasn't really much on goaltenders. So Chris Kreider, he is owned by 78%, which is quite a big number. He had 3 goals, 4 assists, so if you want, he could be a player that could put up quite a few points. And then David Pastrnak had 4 goals, 2 assists. He's owned 76% of the time, so also might be hard to get him in your league, but he could also sustain, not obviously this pace, but have a pretty decent pace. Vanek is owned 49%. The really good thing about Vanek, I'm pretty sure he's left wing, right wing, so you can put him on both sides. Yeah, the 50% shooting percentage is really high. Obviously, that's going to come down. But if it's a lot of team, like a 12-team league, you might be wanting to pick him up. You never know. Mike Green, who's owned I think 59% of the leagues. Kind of be cautious with him. He does have 3 goals, but he had a hat trick the one game, so they all came in the one game. Obviously, they haven't played that many games anyways, but the 3 assists is pretty promising, so maybe he can play. So here's a couple players that for sure you'd probably be able to get and could have a really big year. Artem Anisimov had 2 goals, 3 assists in the first week. Last year he only had 42 points, but I'm pretty sure he was injured for a little bit of that. I'm not completely sure. But obviously playing with Kane is going to bring up his value. Hopefully he's going to be more than 42 this year, I think. Maybe the 50-point range, 50 to 60. If he gets that, he's going to be valuable in your league. And he's only owned by 20% in 20% of the league, so most likely you'll be able to get him. And then William Nylander, he's owned 49%, 1 goal, 3 assists. Here's a player that is still a rookie, considered a rookie. He did play last year in the NHL for quite a few games. Didn't make it enough to make him not eligible. And he could just benefit from playing with Austin Matthews. So just like Anisimov with the Kane effect, obviously Matthews isn't quite the player Kane is, but just being able to play with him, it could surprise quite a few people and be pretty consistent in fantasy. So some goalies, Al Montoya is only owned 30%, but with price coming back, I don't know if it would be worth it dropping one of your goalies to pick him up. I mean, if you get a goalie injured, maybe, and there's nothing really available, you can go with him. But I wouldn't really pick him up. I have him right now only because I have Price on one of my teams, so obviously I switched him. And then Kari Lehtinen, I know he splits games with Niemi, but he's played 2 games, 1 win, 1.31 goals against average, and a .951 save percentage. He's only owned 52% of leagues, so if you're looking as like maybe a third goalie, because you never know how many starts he's actually going to get with Niemi, definitely try and pick him up. He's only owned about 50% of the league, so it could be a worthwhile addition to your team. So yeah, just like, comment, subscribe. Just let me know what you guys think of your teams or anything like that, and have a nice day.